It's in preparing.
It doesn't matter. You would never go back to look at the recordings.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so go back and then you're going to see this whole conversation online.
Okay.
Just trying to explain to Xerxes how life works.
Geeta knows more about technology than I do.
Oh, see? Right there.
Wow. It's called false advertising. Thank you, Facebook.
I'm amazed that we've been doing this for 2 years and I've been trying to explain for 2 years. This goes live well before you think it's going live.
You clearly explained very well.
Okay. So
November. That's right. It'd be good if we shared.
Yes, and we got our little presentation. November's been
It's been a fun month.
Mm-hmm.
It's great weather. I mean, relatively well. People would disagree with me given how warm it was.
Disagree with you in terms of it being great weather?
Well, for climate change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is fair.
Market updates and insights.
Yeah, and I think well, I do want to start actually, even before we get into that, Xerxes, is just the message that I had even sent out yesterday, because we send the email out with a weekly update on market stats. And I think it's just about acknowledging that everybody is just at a different stage. So where some people will take a look at this kind of a market and see many opportunities, there are other people that are facing very real challenges when it comes to their monthly payouts, how inflation is impacting them, how the rate increases are impacting them. Some people have several properties, others have just one. Some are diehard investors and looking for that next opportunity, and others have been hesitating to even take that first step. So it's important for us to acknowledge that no matter what situation everybody might be in, it is a little bit a situation of uncertainty for most. And we, as your real estate team, are very much here to be able to respond to any questions you have, any concerns that we can help talk through. So I wanted to put that out there, even before we get into the somewhat encouraging numbers of November. Just important for us to be cognizant of that fact.
No, absolutely. And as Geeta said, it's always one of those things that you look at relatively speaking, and but no matter what your situation is, we're here to hear you out.
So
let's get into this. Okay, average selling price, still over 7 figures.
It is still over 7 figures. And when you're looking at November 2021 and where it was at, it's 7.2% less. Yes. However, November 2021 was a super hot time for real estate. So,
Geeta, we were selling units at the Grand in Pickering, and one of the clients was asking me, they said, well, I have a concern with the market and where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up buying and firming up their deal because what I encouraged them to do was look at the average selling price 5 years ago.
Exactly.
And look at the average selling price today.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it comes back. I think I say this every week, which is it is a long-term game. It is not something which is overnight you're going to see. We've been spoiled in the GTA with regards to values going up the way they have.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiled to the point where some people can't, unfortunately, even get into their homes. But nonetheless, we are here explaining the facts, and the facts are that the prices are on average over $1 million. So detached homes still holding strong at close to 1.4. You've got your semis at about $1.04 million, and then your towns around 900,000. We've seen those come down a bit, and because they've come down, we've actually seen we're seeing on the ground level, like, starting to pick up with regards to activity, number of offers, the days on market falling, and the number of showings happening on properties, and the number of properties, even in just the last month, where we've been taking our buyers to, seeing offer dates come back.
Yeah, and I would say for the most part, we're seeing that with towns and semis.
For sure. So anything under that, like I'd say 1.2 mark, we're seeing that change. In certain neighborhoods, it even goes up to the 1.5 mark. We are seeing condos having healthy amounts as far as sale prices are concerned and sale values are concerned, but the number of condos on the market are significantly higher. So that's where that skew comes into play.
Yeah. And then in terms of sales to new listings ratio, when you look at last year, 89% of the listed homes were selling. That again is not what a typical market looks like. And we know that for a fact. Last October, right up until February, it was a totally different market. The numbers we've got right now, 51% in a regular market, 51 to 60% is the number of homes that are selling. So for every 10 homes listed, half the homes are selling.
I think we need to change the word regular to healthy. Because this is a healthy market.
You know what? You're actually right. You're right. Because when we're saying regular, we talk about those peak periods in 2017. You talked about the peak periods that, I mean, consistently from 2021 that just kept going and going, and then really took off from October to February. And you're right, those were anomalies. And the other markets are regular or healthy, and healthy or more balanced. And so that is what we would normally see. And what that indicates is if there's 1 out of 2 homes is selling, then what is it that we have to look at? If you're really serious about selling, how you're pricing, how you're presenting, who is marketing your property for you, all these things are really, really important. And it also goes to show that there are people out there who are still trying to test the market, which is never a good idea.
100%. And from a year-over-year standpoint, with regards to the days on market, we're still looking at a month, which is very, very healthy. I mean, I'd like to bring to people's notice that, like, in Toronto, as I said, we were spoiled, where we saw, average days on market being 11, 13, and 18. But keep in mind, in most marketplaces, 30, 40, 60, 90 days even. That's a normal number of days on market.
Yep.
In the early 2000s, this is what it used to be. In fact, it used to be more than this. So.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, considering 60 days on market and sellers being completely prepared for knowing that their lives were going to get disrupted somewhat for a couple of months was, what was the norm.
Yeah.
So moving on.
So let's talk about home sales. So we're still seeing movement. I mean, 50% of the homes are selling. So we're still seeing movement. And the movement has moved in a very positive direction compared to earlier on in the summer. We're seeing everything has been more positive since the summer.
We have had, so in terms of new listings, it's been slightly less than the same time last year, but a significant number of new listings versus the drop in terms of the sales has been higher. So approximately 50% less sales compared to last year, but only 11.6% less listings. So definitely there are more options for buyers if you take a look at it that way.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about average prices and sales with regards to the 416 and the 905 and the break it down types of houses. I'm just going to focus on the November 2022. I just want to bring to people's attention when they're starting to see these numbers. November last year, end of October, beginning of November is really when the market stepped up as far as, your list to sell ratios and your, new listing to sale ratios, like the November to February.
And not to mention price points. Like every week we were just looking at a different, crazy price.
So, but I just want to focus on what November 2022 has brought. And we're seeing here in the 416 with regards to detached homes, there were 542 homes that sold. In the 905, it was about triple that amount. In the 416, the average price point was about mid 1.5s, and the 905 is close to the mid 1.3s. Semis, you're going to see again that disparity, but like the shortening of that disparity a little bit. And then also with regards to towns, I mean, you're seeing a majority of the towns that are selling are in the 905 area. That switches around significantly just from the sheer number of condos available in the 416. And the price point though, and this is where we have been showing our clients opportunities in the 905 with regards to condos, because first of all, the supply of condos is lower. You can just see that it's about a third lower or half lower, but the price point is not that different. The average price point, like you're talking in terms of about an $80,000, like less than about a 10%, slightly more than a 10% difference in the values. So, and if you actually look at the year over year, the 905, that's one of the townhouses in the city, and the condos in the GTA
it's positive growth.
Is positive growth. So these are really important numbers to pay attention to, especially for our investor clients out there. For those first-time home buyers who are out there, keep in mind, we always say this to our first-time home buyers, there's very, very few percentage that's the anomaly. But for most, they're getting into their first home knowing fully well in the next 3 to 7 years, they're going to be moving again. So I always say to people,
first-time home buyers always think it's going to be their forever home, their dream home. They don't know, but we know that in the next 3 to 5 years, they're going to be moving.
And then in that case, you want to see what is that step that's going to get you to that next home and that forever home as quickly as possible. So treating it slightly a bit more like an investment is key. So this is the most important chart, I think, in our presentation today, which is even if we look at the average selling price year over year, but more so if we look at last month to this month, what is the market doing? Is it improving? What effects are happening in the day-to-day lives of this market?
Yeah, and I think that it's important to take a look at this because this is a reflection of what we are seeing. One is, what the media is putting out there. And I mean, we just know as well today, there was another rate hike that was announced by 50 basis points. And so it's important to consider that despite all of the changes taking place on that front, buyers are back in the market looking. We can see that just compared to last month, there's a 0.3% increase in terms of average price. Yes, year over year, it's down by 7.2%. But overall, I think it's very promising.
Do you remember when people were talking about, the market's come down 20%?
Yeah.
So we have very short-term memory, don't we?
We do.
So transactions are obviously down, but so are the number of listings. And then when we look from month over month as far as transactions are concerned, I mean, keep in mind this time of year, we start seeing a slight slowdown as we get into the holiday season. And October is always pumped up a little bit from September after people go back to school. The next time we're going to see this is come mid-January, end of January, and then leading up into the spring market. So if we look over here, we're looking at the housing chart. So basically we're looking at what have we seen with regards to the averages. So
I mean, I'm just taking a look, Sirksen, sorry to interrupt, but I'm just taking a look at the orange or the rust colored bar is 2022. Literally, if you just take a look from November going back, like you can almost,
see a positive line.
But it's like there's consistency. Yes, it's come down, so you can see that decrease from April coming down. But then if you take a look right from July up until November, very marginal, but there's that, it's kind of in that hold pattern. So none of those crazy drops that anybody was expecting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the best way of putting it. And the, the gap, you just see that gap between the blue and the orange line from the beginning of the year to now, and how that's settled. And at the same time, we're now going to see, it's going to be very interesting to watch to see what happens over the next 6 months.
Yes, it will. And this is the same thing, but for sales. Here you can see, the disparity between the bars a lot more than pricing. So, to me, that indicates the pricing is more or less held strong, and a lot of the psychological impact of changes and shifts and media reports, that's what causes all this fluctuation when it comes to sales.
But what's really interesting is how prices have stayed steady and sales have come down.
That's literally what I'm just saying.
You've been teaching me to say the same thing in fewer words.
That's right. I literally just said that, and you just resaid it, but it goes to show that we're both thinking on the same lines.
Yeah. I was just enamored by the chart. I was just like, wait a second.
So, wait, you were talking, but what I just realized.
So, Geeta, I'm going to let you make this very, very exciting announcement.
Oh, yes. The announcement that everybody should be following us on social media. But the announcement that comes after this, which is normally our last slide, is that in 2023, we are going to be introducing, actually, I should take it a step back. Do you remember when we started doing these live Facebook?
March 2020.
March 2020. I mean, COVID hit, and Team Rajpal was there, not like anybody else that was just like, oh, let's just sit at home and do nothing. We were like, hey, what can we do? How can we educate our community, and what can we do differently? And just like that, we started doing these Facebook Lives. And now, of course, 2 years later, as we're always thinking about what we can do different, what we can do better, and based on a lot of feedback from our great clients and our Team Rajpal community, we have decided that we are going to have a podcast. So this version is now going to be a podcast. It could still be a video podcast, but it's coming in 2023. And so we have listened to the requests, and we're really excited about this. We're meeting with Nick next week. Yes, to go over details.
It's really, really exciting. And yeah. I think it'll just add a different dimension and allow more and more people to hear about the facts, and more also on the go. You don't have to be watching us. You can hear us in your car. There's so many versatile options.
Absolutely. And during COVID, it made sense because you were pretty much at home, and over lunch, even when you were working from home. Yes, it was so easy to watch us, but now you can watch and listen. So stay tuned.
All right. Have a great week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.